Welcome into the CHGO Bears Podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook. Download the app. Use promo code CHGO when you sign up. What's going on, Bears fans? Adam Hoge, Mark Carman, Greg Braggs Jr.
Braggs.
Let's go.
Rise and shine.
Draft party, baby.
The draft party tickets are on sale right now. Damn now. They went on sale at 10 o'clock. Our diehards got early access at 9:30, but you can jump on right now. Get those tickets. We are going to be at Joe's on Weed Street on April 27th and 28th.
I will be living there from, I believe, Wednesday evening until Saturday morning. I'll just be moving in.
Sounds awesome.
Hopefully there will be
Sounds like a great time.
some sort of trundle bed or something.
I'm with you. We'll hang out. I'm looking forward to it. For those who like full details of these things, I'm here for you. $85 to get in the door, which gives you general admission, which gives you bar stools that should be available. Of course, tons of standing room space, and you of course have all the drink packages. Goose Island is going to be flowing beautifully. So will cocktails. So will
premium cockies.
Premium cockies. You want reserve table seating? We got that for $105. You want VIP seating right next to the stage? Seating $115, a booth $125. So lots of options for you.
Can I get seating near the stage so I can produce this mess?
We're charging you $700 to be there, and you have to run the thing.
We're bringing in backup producers.
No mishaps.
I hope
either.
so, honestly.
No, yeah. I heard Allie's coming from Denver.
Thank goodness.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That makes
I got sources.
Now that makes it a real.
Well,
that
now we
makes
know
me
it's
nervous.
a legitimate event.
Yeah.
She's there.
What about the Raggedy Ann
City?
No,
Raggedy Ann from the Combine would be a good addition
unless
too.
you stole one of those and bought it.
I did not.
One of the 700 from the house.
I think I left about 7 cords in that house so I can't charge my UBL boombox thing.
That makes sense.
So if anybody has that somewhere, or I got to go drive back down there, I don't know where to get those.
Yeah, you should probably
Raggedy
drive
Ann
that.
has that now.
Raggedy Ann probably has all my cords.
No
That's
way
messed
you're
up.
getting that back.
Okay. Big day today, Hoge.
Also, if you are a diehard, I want to stress that if you are a CHGO diehard, you get a discount on tickets. So if you're not, what are you doing?
Right. And
the diehard membership will pay for
If you
itself.
become a diehard right now, you can get a free shirt. We're going to have a happy hour in like a week. You get discounted tickets on the draft party. That's all in the next 3 weeks.
First time I'm hearing about this happy hour.
yeah, but
Get it on my calendar.
There is a happy hour coming up before the draft.
Sure, yeah, let's do it.
I promise.
Happy
I've heard
hours for
this.
those who don't know what they are. A lot of you do, but we do a private Zoom where 20 to 50 to 100 of your best Bears friends are all hanging out with us, and we're just hanging out. We're at, you can be drinking, you cannot be drinking, obviously, and we're also having conversations about everything.
Does Hoge know he got called out on the last one?
In the happy hour?
Yeah.
For what, not being there?
Yeah, because, you were in Arizona. I was in Arizona, and
Yeah.
I was actually in the dark by the end of it. I showed off the nice sunset outside my parents' backyard.
Nice.
And
Yeah, I don't
it was
remember.
very dark.
Yeah, I was enjoying
You don't remember me, Carm?
I was
Is that for
enjoying
real?
a nice
Not cool.
dinner with my wife.
You're entitled to miss a happy hour,
I was
buddy.
not going to ruin that dinner by talking to Braggs.
That's true.
Understandable. Understandable.
Actually, was that Tuesday or Wednesday you guys did that last week?
Tuesday night.
Oh, yeah. First, we watched Wisconsin lose to North Texas in the NIT, which is the most humiliating experience you
Mean
can have
Green,
unless
baby.
you lose to a 16 seed
Come
in the
on,
first round.
CUSA, man. They were like 19-3 or something in all the tournaments combined.
Actually, I would argue that's worse than losing to a 16 seed.
What?
I'm so bored by Purdue's patheticness that can we just move on?
Yes, absolutely.
That
I hate you
university is just not worth
I
anything.
actually, no, I was just telling
Grant
you what I was
McCaslin. Come on, he's now Texas Tech's head coach. Got a new job. Good for him.
doing. He did. Good for him. You beat Wisconsin. You got a new job. Everybody profits.
There
All
we
right.
go. Yep.
If you missed it yesterday, we had a breakdown of the top 5 interior O-linemen in the 2023 draft using our CHGO big board, which actually has been updated since then. Certain somebody named Mark Carman filled out his rankings later after the show, and it messed up with the order.
Well, I'd like to take full blame for that. All of us at the Carm feel bad about it, and it did require. But you
All
did.
of us at the Carm.
Yeah, at the Carm.
It's a corporation now.
It is.
At the Carm LLC.
yeah.
We had some big meetings after we realized that we let the team down yesterday, and me sat together and looked in the mirror and said, we got to be better.
So Osiris Torrance already getting a bump up on the old draft board, which is fluid until draft night. So that's the great thing. If another perk of being a diehard, you can see that. But regardless, we still broke down the top 5 interior linemen. It's all there for you. Please go check it out. And within our draft board, if you go on there, we're going to start putting the individual videos on each player. So there's plenty of content there to consume for you with the interior linemen. Today, we're going to shift to the offensive tackles, which I think one of the 3 of us on the set right now is very excited about. That would be me.
Braggs is.
They brought me in today for offensive line expertise.
How long are your arms?
How long are my arms? I don't know. Longer than Skoronski's?
No, they're not.
Yeah,
We would have to
Whoa,
measure.
easy on. I don't know what you're capable of. Braggs, by the way, for the record, has been in a terrible mood all morning, and then the show started and he got in a good mood. So he's just happy to see everybody. I'll speak for you. But yes,
When the chat comes on, it just lights me up.
it does. I mean, this guy's been miserable all morning long, and now you just are all making him smile. So know that.
Light it up. All right. We already have a discrepancy at the top of this board because the number. So the way this is working is this is our consensus CHGO big board, and so we all sort of pitch in and come to a consensus just like you would in a draft room, right? I actually disagree here at the top with who's number 1 because it wasn't my top pick, but still think he's a good player, and we're going to start right now with Paris Johnson Jr. from the Ohio State University. 6'6", 313, will likely be a first-round pick, could very well be in play for the Bears at number 9 overall. And, of course, the athleticism through the roof. Prototypical left tackle, certainly on paper, the way you build him. He's got the length that Skoronski doesn't have. He's got the size. And the way he gets to the second level, the athleticism, he moves his feet easily. And the lower half technique is very, very strong. I still think he can improve his upper half strength and get his hands to a better level. If you watch his film, there's a bunch of like bear hugs on film that he got away with in the Big Ten that I think will definitely get called at the next level. So he's got some things he got to pick. Also, when you look at him against top teams, he had a couple bad moments against Lucas Van Ness.
Yep.
Top 15 pick. And he gave up a sack in the Peach Bowl as well in the semifinals of the college football playoff. So that gives me a little bit of concern that against some of those top-tier guys he went up against, because at the NFL level, that's all you're going to see. Little concerning where I thought Skoronski was a little bit more consistent even against the top guys, although he did have a bad moment against Lucas Van Ness too in the Iowa game. So bottom line for me is I understand why if the Bears, the way they do things, the emphasis they put on length, my guess is they probably have Paris Johnson Jr. ahead of Skoronski too. That's just me guessing. But for me personally, I think Skoronski's film is just more consistent. That's why I put him number 1, but I certainly understand why he ended up number 1 on the offensive tackle list for us.
Things that I like about Paris Johnson Jr. for one, 23 straight starts. That's not 100, but that's some decent durability right there, which I enjoy. I think a fit for the Bears alongside the upside of his talent and what you've already seen to this point, which has been significant.
How many starts did you say he had?
23 consecutive.
Oh, okay.
23.
Yeah. Now, one caveat.
Yeah.
He only half of those are at left tackle.
Right.
Because he played right guard the year before.
To get on the field with a very talented Buckeye front five, he played right guard. So that is, I mean, he's obviously not going to play guard for the Bears, but unless things go dramatically wrong if he is the draft pick. But he does have that in his history, so there is that as well. He is, as far as first-class dude coming in here, you're talking about academic all Big Ten. No one cares about this stuff other than me. I get it. But he's a member of the National Honor Society. He's a member of the Chinese International Honor Society. He's raised over $10,000 to assist military veterans, student athletes, and the homeless. He speaks Mandarin Chinese. He speaks Portuguese. The dude's freaking interesting. And I like to go all the way back to birth with Paris Johnson Jr. He was 22 and a half inches when he came out. The average baby is 20 inches. He was a big dude coming. He had a lot
longer arms than Skoronski at that point.
Dude was ready to go straight. He was, right when he came out of the womb, man. That's messed up, Brax.
I'm kidding, Peter. Don't kill me.
So
Don't kill me.
So, Mama Monica, she had an extra challenge on that day. 22 and a half inches coming out. It's a big dude, ready to rock and roll. Let's go.
Yeah, Monica gave me a shout out on Twitter when I did my little pro day. Reenactment of Paris Johnson. Maybe we can play that later in the show. Yeah. The one thing that stuck out to me is his relationship with Justin Fields. I think is certainly important. He did say outright on Bussin' with the Boys, Taylor Lewan, he has a podcast. I believe it's a Barstool show. He said he wants to play for the Bears. So I liked hearing that. The one thing that did stick out to me in that interview, though, was when he was talking about some of the potential teams he could play for, Miami was brought up. And he said, well, I don't think I'd play tackle there because tackle's already set, and I'd be willing to play guard. And I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing to say. Like, dude, you're a potential top 10 pick. I almost want to hear more alpha. Yeah. I want to hear more, I am a tackle.
I want to be the left tackle.
I want to be exactly. Yeah. Okay, maybe I appreciate the team aspect, mentality. I'll play where they need me. But at the same time, I want alphas. I want a guy that is like, I'm the tackle. I'm going to be the best tackle in this league kind of mentality.
For the CHGO diehards, Nick Moriano has a bunch of notes from some film he's watched within our draft profile on Paris Johnson Jr. There's also some video of him against Iowa going up against Lucas Van Ness, courtesy of our guy Nate Tice, who posted that on Twitter. And then, we talked about this the other day, but Nick had a great Q&A with offensive line expert Brandon Thorne, which you haven't read it yet. I highly encourage you to go to check it out at allchgo.com. That's unlocked for everyone, but his Thorne's comments on Paris Johnson Jr. are also in the draft profile that we have on our draft board. And, he says he has, on Paris Johnson Jr., he says he has elite length. I think his anchor and play strength are closer to average, maybe a little bit below average. That's kind of his Achilles heel that I think could get better over time considering how young he is, considering he still has some physical maturing to do. So I think that could get more solid over time. But the way he sustains blocks in the run game is really impressive, and he is Thorne's number one tackle, partially because I think Thorne leans towards guard for Skoronski.
Super interesting stuff. Great work by Nick.
6'6", 310.
Yeah.
He looks the part.
Like I said, on paper, he is, he's built like you would want your left tackle to be built.
And he's violent, not necessarily as violent as some of the others that we'll get to, like Broderick Jones, who's in my head right now with his violent abilities. But there's video of Paris taking would-be tacklers 3 yards off the field and just continuing blocks. Also, as we're kind of giving a little background information, I think it's time, Hoge, right now to mention who's going to be here in that seat.
Oh,
on Friday at 2:30, special Friday edition of CHGO Bears. Fingers crossed, as Lawrence is doing right now, that we all make it through traffic, and particularly our guest makes it through traffic and gets here. But Braxton Jones, your current left tackle of the Chicago Bears, will be right here 2:30 Friday, special show. We'll have him for roughly an hour or so it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, so we're kind of switching our Thursday and Friday shows up. So tomorrow will be the Chicago Audible show you get with Will and Nick every week. And then Friday, we'll be back in studio, Braxton Jones in studio with us on Friday. And again, that's going to be a 2:30 start time instead of noon.
That's awesome.
And spoiler alert, you're going to love Braxton Jones. He's a great dude.
Oh, he's very thoughtful and great public speaker. So I'm excited about the interview for sure. I think we should have him break down the top 5 offensive linemen.
That would be probably awkward for him, but but I would be, if we could, let him act like we're not on the show and no one's listening. I would be very interested in his thoughts on who he would like to play with as, someone, if he has to have somebody else to, play tackle with, which he will. So
All right.
Maybe it'll be Larry Borum. You never know.
So
Do you want to see the video of Braggs before I move on?
We can do it. I don't
I-
care. We
yes,
can do it
we do.
later.
So first of all, let's set this up by pointing out that Paris Johnson had a video go viral from his pro day of him doing this
We've got that
sort of
video, too.
wacky. I don't want to call it wacky, but he was showing off his ability to drop and do all the athletic things that he's able to do from his pro day. So you can kind of see it there. And then, so of course, Greg Braggs, wanted to
He
show
was
off.
he was like screaming in the video too, which I found the most entertaining of it.
So Braggs, we all know, is
Ninth
also
pick in the NFL draft. CHGO Bears select Greg Braggs Jr., Crown Point, Indiana.
So as you can see, the footwork is identical. I mean, there's literally no difference. The athleticism is the same. And look at the length, too, in that frame.
Yeah,
That
Look at how
just-
uncomfortable he is
Look at
right
the
there. It looks like he's
stance.
going
Look
to
at the
fall over.
stance.
It looks like his back hurts.
look at that technique.
Look at
Look at that.
Yeah. Way to spot the camera there on the way back.
yes.
I like the cul-de-sac. It's a nice cul-de-sac.
Yeah,
For those of you listening
that was
to
a
the
key in buying our
podcast,
house, a cul-de-sac.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for those of you listening to the podcast, go back in Braggs' Twitter about 3 weeks. Good luck, because
Yeah.
there's been since then probably 846 tweets. But yeah.
or if you just want to picture it in your head, just think about the best athleticism you can think of for a tackle. And that's the video we showed of Paris Johnson Jr. And then think about the opposite of that. And then that would be the Braggs video there. So,
Hey, Paris Johnson Jr. gave it some love on Twitter, and so did his mom. So
it was a good job by you.
shout out to those guys. I've been efforting to get Paris on the show, but we'll see.
Is
His agent's ducking me right now.
Is he demanding more videos like that before I put him on the show?
I figured that would
Yeah.
get us the in, but we'll see.
I'm just happy.
Adam Heller.
I'm just happy you didn't get hurt.
I'll just say this to the agent, and I don't know who the agent is, but you can run, but you can't hide. Braggs is gonna find you, buddy.
Yep.
Rise and shine. Dodging us, agent. Let's go. Paris Johnson wants to sit on the
I'm
show.
sure they're busy. I get it.
Nah,
I get it.
They
come
got
on.
nothing to do.
You can. Paris should be out there talking to people, including us. Let's go.
Skoronski should be too.
Yes.
Which, speaking number 2 on our consensus top 5 offensive tackles in this draft, we go to Peter Skoronski, the pride of Maine South in Park Ridge, and a stud left tackle for the Northwestern Wildcats for 3 years. And in terms of tape, man, this is as consistent as it comes. He's 6'4", 315. Of course, the arm length is really the only thing you can complain about with this guy. In terms of being a teammate, the work, there are 0 red flags. The tape is, if we're just looking at this objectively, his tape is as consistent as anybody in this draft. I am saying anybody in this draft. Not just tackles, not just offensive linemen. He is as smooth as it comes, and to come in from high school, start as a true freshman in the Big Ten at left tackle just does not happen. And he did so also in the COVID year when their training camp and everything was weird, and it was start off like it was a weird year, and he came in with no problems. So obviously there's the much talked about concerns about his arm length, which is a very real thing. I'm not denying that at all. Certain evaluators in the NFL will say there is a cutoff point. There's never been a left tackle with this short of arms that's had success in the NFL. I get all that, and I can't really argue with it. But I do think when you look at the tape and you see how good he's been, I would at least give him the chance to be the outlier. There certainly are outliers.
Yeah, I love Peter Skoronski. He again would be a perfect fit in that locker room. There's a versatility to him. Like, you literally could play him anywhere on the offensive line, which is not the goal, again, if you're drafting him at 9. But
here's the thing on that.
Yeah, go ahead.
And it might not be. And I understand that there's certainly the Bears have a need at tackle, a huge need at tackle, which is a real thing. But you need good players. Like, I keep going back to that. You just need good players. And of all the offensive linemen in this draft, I don't think there's anybody that has a better chance to start week 1 and play well in week 1 than Peter Skoronski does, whether that's a guard or tackle. I think he has the highest floor of any prospect in the entire draft. Because I think that high floor is Pro Bowl guard, right? Whereas I think you could make an argument, and I would sit here and certainly understand with the length and the way you build them in a lab, Paris Johnson probably has a higher ceiling maybe, certainly as a tackle in the NFL. But I don't think there's any question that Skoronski's the worst-case scenario between the two. You would take Skoronski's like, okay, well, the worst thing is we got to move him to guard, and he's going to be great.
I agree with you. Higher floor. That's interesting, though, that you saying that his floor is a Pro Bowl guard. Big-time statement right there. I'm not saying you're wrong, but that
I'm
is
not the only one who thinks that.
Yeah, okay. That's a big statement. The worst-case scenario with this dude is that he's a Pro Bowler in the interior. That ain't bad if that's how it turned out for him.
So with all that on the table, I want to ask you, Brax,
Yeah,
which
Brax.
one would you rather take the chance on then? If you're not trading back, you have to make the pick at 9. They're both sitting there. Which one would you take?
It's Paris Johnson Jr., without question. I mean, he looks the part. You know, I think both guys have question marks, still have things to get better at, but I'm going to take Paris Johnson Jr. And there's nothing against Peter Skoronski, but it really scares me when I hear guard. You know, I don't want a top 10 player that's a guard. I want a can't-miss player. You know, we talked about this on After Dark. You know, I want guys that I know, not I think. And when we get into this discussion, into the weeds on Peter Skoronski, you have some people like yourself that say, I think he could be a left tackle. And then there's others that say, I think he is a guard.
But I'm also telling you he is a can't-miss guy on the offensive line.
More
so than Paris Johnson.
But if it ends up being a guard, I'd prefer to find a tackle. How many times are we going to pick in the top 10? Hopefully not many more here in the next 10 years, unless we're finding trades, you know, like we did with the Panthers pick. I don't want our pick being in the top 10 again. So if that's the case, this is our one chance at a top 10 pick. I want guys that I know are elite players. And is he elite? I mean, you're saying wherever he plays, he is. I have my concerns, and maybe this is the ghost of tackles past here in Chicago with Gabe Karimi and other players of that nature. I mean, we've had some bad luck.
Nobody would say that Gabe Karimi's floor was a Pro Bowl guard.
Just saying, we've had some bad luck with some first-round tackles, so it makes me nervous. I'm more of a skill guy when it comes to, you know, early in the draft, so I'm being biased when I say this.
All right, well,
who would you take? Because I'm taking Paris Johnson Jr.
I'm not saying that I wouldn't take Paris, but the way you do, it's the chat is noticing that I'm eye rolling at you, which is kind of, I gotta, I guess, maybe work on my stoic face.
How many times a day do you eye roll it?
All the time.
Okay, everybody relax. I live in the moment. The whole looks the part thing, forget about what it looks like just because Paris is taller. I'm not saying that I wouldn't take Paris Johnson because I do think the upside is that much greater, and the Bears right now are pretty overloaded on the interior, plus the fact that you could get some there are interesting interior options that you can get later in the draft, which also if we're going to really start doubling down, maybe even tripling down on getting this offensive line in the spot that it needs to be, they could go that route as well. But just because Skoronski, I don't get caught up in the arm length as much as others are getting. I don't get caught up in the fact that he's not as big. I look at the production and it is there, so that's it.
Well, and the thing that I would just say overall is I don't have a problem with if they select any of the 5 guys we're going to talk about today, I'd be fine with it, with the preface that we've traded back to get one of them. Yeah. I don't like reaching really for any of these guys at point. 9, if I'm being honest. I'd prefer to trade back and let one of these players fall to me, and now we've added an additional pick, and I'd feel better about it. I'm worried about reaching.
So 100% agree.
And I agree with that too. But that is the crux of my argument for why, if I have to take one of these 5 guys at 9, I'm going with Skoronski. Because I just cannot justify taking an offensive lineman in the top 9 and feeling like there's a risk that it's not going to work out. And I just know I feel more confident than any of these guys that Skoronski is going to be a stud on my offensive line for a long, long time. And so maybe that's settling if you want to make that argument. I also...
So you're saying Skoronski's floor is higher than anyone else's.
Correct.
Would
Yes.
you say Paris Johnson's ceiling is higher than anyone else's?
At tackle, yes. Yes, at tackle. I don't think Paris Johnson's moving to guard, though, and having nearly as much success as Skoronski would. And I'm also drafting, and me personally, I don't know what the Bears would do, and I understand arm length's a big deal to them, so I'm not even saying that this is what they would do, but I would, if I'm drafting Skoronski, I would still try him out at right tackle in training camp, in the preseason. I'd leave Braxton Jones on the left side, and I would see if Skoronski can handle on the right side where he'd get more help from tight ends. And I'd see if that can work. And if it doesn't, I feel very confident that if I have to move him over to left guard, if it's not working and Tevin Jenkins is not working or whatever's not working, I feel very, very good that I didn't just blow a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. And I just – and Brandon Thorne got into some of this with Nick too in that Q&A. Like, there's not really a slam dunk offensive line prospect in this draft except Skoronski. But everyone's just worried about his arms and thinks he's a guard. And I'm more of a – I've always philosophically thought this way. I don't put the same emphasis on tackle versus guard as some teams do. There are teams that build inside out. I'm more of an inside out guy. The problem is right now the Bears literally don't have a right tackle, and I get that. But that's not enough for me. The Bears aren't a right tackle away from winning the Super Bowl.
Right.
They're just not. So I'm going to take the best player there, and to me it's Skoronski.
Let's can we hear from Peter?
Well, I just want. Do you want to push back on this super chat from Chris?
Chris Pagaro.
Cram likes locker room guys over talent confirmed.
No, yes, I will push back, Chris, and we do greatly appreciate the super chat. Thank you. I like both. I like a combination. I like my cake and eat it too. A lot of guys with a lot of great talent out there who don't necessarily love playing football and or can create problems within your locker room. When you're picking this high, you want to take somebody who's got both. That's how I see it. Although, at some point here, I might have to back off. And Gary Ross, close your ears. I'm getting nervous about my Jalen Carter thing. The more stuff I read about people being excited about Jalen Carter and his potential going in the top 10, which is making me nervous. So, but here, let's hear.
Jalen Carter is just living in your head.
He is.
You think about Jalen Carter
I do.
more than you think about anybody.
In this draft, probably true.
I mean, in life.
That's not true. That's not true. I also think about Father Bob Skoronski, who played at Yale, and grandfather, also named Bob, who's a 5-time NFL champion tackle for the Packers.
Hiya, Bob.
Let's be honest.
Good
He thinks
pedigree.
about Braggs more than
He does.
Carter.
I've been
Calls
actually
and texts me all the time.
I've been trying to move away from you. It's been a process.
This cram thing has really created a
All right.
crux here.
Here's Skoronski talking about the old arm length thing. I think this video is courtesy of Braggs.
Yeah, it is.
The supposed limitations of short arms, how are you able to overcome that?
Yeah, I think, arm length number doesn't really determine a great player or a great blocker. I think it's pretty irrelevant. I think, some of my issues that have been chalked up to arm length are really just technical things that I can work on and try to fix. So I'm not really concerned about that. And from what I gather, a lot of teams aren't really either.
Why do you think that narrative is out there? You're not the first offensive lineman people have said that about. Why do you think that narrative is out there?
I don't know. I guess some people just kind of look to measurables. Some people who maybe don't understand the position that well think, oh, you're a tackle. There's longer DNs out there, so you need longer arms. As my trainer Duke Mayweather says, no one seems to have an answer for the long arm guys who can't block anybody. So
what do you do? What do you do to make up for that? I'm not saying it's a shortcoming, but what do you do that off balances that is a strength in a different way?
Yeah, no, I think it starts with you win blocks with your feet. Really, that's always been my philosophy personally. So that for sure, and just continuing to work on punch timing and hand placement, I think are huge things for me to sort of alleviate that sort of issue, which is something I got to work on for sure. But at the end of the day, there's nothing I can do about my arm length, and you can't just sit here and complain about it. Not that it really matters anyways, but there's plenty of way more important things in terms of being a good offensive lineman.
Can you tell me about?
So obviously, Peter Skoronski's combine interview with Greg Braggs just didn't go well because it hasn't changed his opinion.
Hey, all respect to Peter. Hey, he stepped up to those questions and answered them. He's not shying away from the conversation. I like the quote where he said, nobody says anything about the guys with long arms that can't block. I thought that was funny.
Did you like how he did air quotes though with those tiny arms? He put his tiny arms up. And
the T-Rex.
Be nice.
Dylan, his team Carm. Thanks, Dylan. $1.99.
Thank you, Dylan. Feels good every time I see Dylan's
team
love.
Carb.
Yeah. I stand by what I've said. I'm going to trust Ryan Poles. There's plenty of guys on Twitter and doing shows that try to outthink it and be smarter than the GM. And I understand there's been plenty of GMs in Chicago that have made bad picks. Dan Bozine and others,
boy.
GMs miss. So I'm not saying don't question GMs. But when draft day comes and we're partying at Joe's on Weed Street, I'm going to be excited no matter who they take because I trust the process that Ryan Poles is putting us in right now. So if it's Peter Skoronski, so be it. Would it be my pick? No, it wouldn't.
Bragg's getting a lot of love in the comments for his work at the Combine. I agree. Absolutely.
That was really his high point so far, I believe.
And that was him in his element.
Yeah.
That was his high
awesome.
point. It's been all downhill since.
No, I don't say that. definitely a peak.
It was an incredible combine
time.
for Braggs, but every day is great with Braggs because Braggs is Braggs and Braggs is getting it done.
Braggs was living well there for a moment.
But
I mean, that Friday night with him and
then
just him and me, that was
then
great.
the Fairleigh Dickinson hit like a ton of bricks.
Yeah, that
Hunter-
Brick by bricks.
Yes.
It's right in your face.
Brick after brick after brick.
did you see who Hunter Dickinson, side turn here, is meeting with today?
Northwestern?
Nope.
I was going to say, what?
Hunter Dickinson's star guy in the transfer portal, college basketball, left turn here. He's meeting with
Who cares?
I don't know. Illinois?
Northwestern.
Kentucky. I thought you'd get excited to say
No.
Purdue and it'd be a good bit, but it didn't work out. So
No.
bad job by me. Moving along.
Jeez. The National Player of the Year is coming back next year.
Okay.
So I'm not worried about Hunter.
Who's next, Hoge?
Something I care more about.
Yes, Hoge.
Pins and Aces, our official golf apparel partner of ALLCITY and CHGO.
Incredible apparel that showed
I'm
up
wearing it
here.
right now.
Look at Hoge.
This is a nice pins. This is like the most comfortable hoodie I've ever worn. It's perfect for golf. It's flexible. It's kind of hard to see the actual logo here on the screen.
I
But,
mean, the gear came in yesterday. Somehow Hoge was the first one to get it. He takes the best thing in the whole thing. Look at this.
and it's got the cool lining on the hoodie.
Oh, that is cool.
It's good hoodie lining.
I mean, especially for today, it was a little rainy but warmer. This is like the best. Oh, I attacked that Pins and Aces gear.
Perfect to go to the White Sox game with a game time ticket.
Yeah, they're trying to convince me by the end of the show to come with them. We'll see. Starting the day off with Eloy injury news was not the best way to get me excited.
Shocker.
But if you can't tell, we love our Pins and Aces gear. I especially love the Pins and Aces gear. And, I'm already getting compliments for wearing this on and off the course. And it is kind of the kickoff of golf here in Chicago. April 1, the weather's looking pretty decent. And it is Masters Week, too. So make sure you're grabbing your Pins and Aces gear. They are family-owned. A golf and apparel business. They make amazing polos, hats, golf bags, and I've talked about this many, many times before. You have to get one of these if you are a golfer. The beer sleeve. It is an innovative product that allows you to store 7 beers right inside your golf bag. It's a sleeve. It goes right in your golf bag, sits there, keeps your drinks cold the entire round. Check out pinsandaces.com and use code CHGO to receive 15% off your first order and get free shipping. That's pinsandaces.com.
Braggs, how's your sex life?
It's great.
You want to make it better?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I know you do. Hoge, you want a better sex life?
Always striving
Absolutely.
for greatness.
Right. You want to be the best that you possibly can be. 50% of men out there have symptoms that get in the way, like watching Purdue basketball, wanting or enjoying the better sex life. The way to do that is to watch Northwestern and also get with Roman, who is here to help. Roman is the digital health clinic for men. No one does this better than Roman to get you to last longer and perform at your highest level of your abilities. They have a variety of sexual health needs, and they've got genuine medication that helps achieve and maintain the strong, big unit if you will. Discreet wipes are available to you that last 4
You're
times.
Randy Johnson?
Is
that what you're talking about?
I wasn't necessarily talking about Randy, but that was a great nickname. Men with low testosterone, you want to get that back to normal, you can help increase your libido. Roman offers a testosterone test that includes some lab processing. This is official. If it's appropriate for you, there's treatment for low testosterone. There's no waiting rooms. There's no hassle. You get the straightforward digital experience from the comfort of your home. And look, when you are in the moment, you want to remain in the moment. And I know for myself that at times the moment has been too brief, and you really want to celebrate the moment as fully as you possibly can. I know
This
you feel
eye contact is something.
I know
while
you feel
do
this. I know you feel the same way. Hey, bottom line, this is what you got to do. You want to learn about how you can achieve your personal sexual health goals? Go to ro.co/CHGO to get 20% off your entire first over. That's ro.co with an aggressive sneeze in the background. I think Paul's getting excited about this opportunity.
Like a pterodactyl.
ro.co/CHGO. It's already working. Roman, we love you.
There's no way the mics picked that up, but that was
That was the
pretty
biggest sneeze in the
amazing,
history of sneezes. No one has ever sneezed. Like, lions don't sneeze like that. Do lions sneeze?
That wasn't a lion.
That was amazing.
Do lions sneeze? I'm sure. Why
Did
not?
you say that sneeze was bigger than Broderick Jones?
No.
Number 3
Great transition.
on our
Nobody's bigger than Broderick Jones.
consensus offensive tackles, the giant Broderick Jones out of Georgia, 6'5", 311, comes in at number 3 on our list here. First round pick. This would be an interesting. Now, it seems like Broderick Jones has been rising up a little bit. Could be in conversation at 9, but certainly if the Bears trade back, this would be sort of the best of worlds between Paris. If you're debating Paris Johnson and Peter Skoronski, but you trade back and you end up with Broderick Jones, I'd like it. I would like it. Big player, little inexperienced, but he's got a little Tevin Jenkins in his game. What I mean by that is the nastiness, the way he finishes blocks. His tape is fun to watch, and you could just see that. And when that shows up on tape, to me, it screams like hits principle guy. Good fit for the Bears, finishing to the end. Now he needs to work on his technique. Hands need to get better. He's got these massive club hands. So I'm not convinced that he's going to come in and, be a top tackle right away. I think he needs a little bit more developmental time. But I also think that there is a possibility that if it doesn't work out, tackle, similar with Tevin Jenkins moving to guard, I think that could be a good fallback option that lowers his floor a little bit.
No,
raises the floor up a little bit.
You're 100% right. Like I'm not breaking. I'm not going to pretend here to anyone here in the chat or watching the show that I'm breaking down offensive line tape. I'm not. I follow what you guys are doing as far as coverage and your opinion, reading different articles, different things people put out on Twitter. And, I do got to give a shout out to our guy, Robert Schmitz. He hung out with us on the Combine weekend. He did a little minute video breakdown of Broderick Jones. And you're right. When you watch him,
Robert's awesome. He did a great job.
Robert's a good dude, and he does good work. And his physicality was something that certainly stood out.
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
It was like something that jumped off the screen. It was like, wow, this dude is a beast. And I would not be upset whatsoever if this guy is. You watch Paris Johnson or Peter Skoronski. I don't know if I'm seeing this kind of physicality it stood out with Broderick Jones.
There's a lot of people that think that Broderick Jones is the best fit for the Bears. I've seen it. It's in the chat again. And here comes Kevin Fishbane in the chat. When's the episode where Hoge breaks down the best personal protectors in the draft? I don't know what that means, but you and Fishbane are
the personal protector on punt.
Oh,
Yep.
okay. So
Yes.
that was over my football knowledge.
Over
That's funny.
in the special
Any
teams.
rate.
We'll have a special teams diehard happy hour. We'll break down all the personal protectors, and it'll be probably just me and Kevin.
That'll be great. I'll for sure tune in. All right, so Broderick is interesting. Broderick is moving around. The Bears are meeting with Broderick Jones. That's not a huge surprise. They're meeting.
Is that today?
Did
I see that was today?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that I forget the day, but okay.
I guess it doesn't matter, but he's one of the top 30.
He's also meeting with the Jets. He's also meeting with the Patriots. He's also meeting with the Titans. He's meeting with the Cardinals. He's meeting with the Bears. A lot of people have him, by the way, going to the Jets in mock drafts at 13.
Can I just do a little side note on all these meetings?
Yeah.
Meetings can also go bad.
They can.
So, it's okay to track the meetings, but it doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah, Jeremy Fowler put on Twitter, pre-draft visits for Georgia offensive tackle Broderick Jones include Titans, Patriots, Jets, and likely Cardinals and Bears per source.
Bears.
The person that the Bears are meeting with today on a top 30 visit is Tyree Wilson.
There you go.
Okay.
Per Ian Rappaport. Not the fake Rappaport, the real one.
The real one. Okay.
But Braggs is the one telling you this, so take it with a grain of salt.
No.
But what Hoge brought up earlier about Broderick, thank you very much, is that the experience, he had a redshirt year. He started 4 games at left tackle as a redshirt freshman, which is very impressive at Georgia. That's you're rising rapidly, and then he started into his entire sophomore year. So, but has been on the field less than everyone else. But the ability to get downfield and violently block someone and move in space, which everybody knows that this is what the Bears want to do, is there. So you can kind of envision him being 10 yards down and springing Justin Fields on that last block, and all of a sudden he's going to the end zone, and or it wouldn't work out in this scenario, but and or Bijan Robinson, who somehow they're just going to get both. They're getting Robinson and Broderick Jones. Yeah. Let's go. Or Khalil Herbert, that's fine.
The one thing I'll say about any of these guys, and I think that includes Broderick Jones, although I could see it with – I think Paris Johnson would be the only one where I'd be aggressive about moving Braxton Jones over to the right side.
Mm-hmm. What does that say for you?
Also, there's too many Joneses in here. We got Braxton Jones. We got Broderick Jones. There's another Jones we're about to talk about.
Tremaine Edmonds, TJ Edwards. Can we make it any more harder? This DJ Moore.
Seriously. They went from Ryan and Matt to Ryan and Matt when they changed the general manager. Come on. What's going on here?
I mean, it's really making me work very hard to get it all straight here, and I didn't need a higher degree of difficulty.
There's only one Bijan.
That's right. Bijan's easy to remember. Let's go.
Draft him. Done.
They're not taking a right. I know. I'm aware.
We'll get to that.
There's also the JSN JMS combo. That's also kind of
that one too. I'm like, it is. Jackson Smith and John Michael Schmitz.
John Michael Jingleheimer Schmitz.
There's a lot going on here, man.
Jingleheimer Schmitz.
All right.
Oh my God.
Let's get to number 4. Another disagreement from me here because I had our number 5 guy here instead of this guy. But, it's a consensus top 5, and there's some love for Darnell Wright out there from Tennessee. 6'5", 342. Big dude, Darnell Wright.
Boy.
Yeah, and some things here. I definitely think we're talking about a right tackle here if they go the Darnell Wright route. Now, I think drafting him at 9 would be a reach, and I don't think he's going to be there. Now,
I will riot if they draft him at 9.
Yeah.
They're not obviously doing that. This would be a trade down scenario and or a massive fall.
There's been some late first round talk with Darnell Wright. So that is something to put in there. He may sneak in the back half of the first round, probably not in position for the Bears. But he's an interesting player. He's got really good hands. If he gets his hands on you, you're done. You're not getting out of there. I thought he was a little inconsistent during Senior Bowl practices. Just watching on TV, we had Nick down there. I was watching all the coverage on TV, but he did have a better game. So the consensus coming out of Senior Bowl was it was an overall positive experience for him. And this does matter to me. His best tape came against Will Anderson,
right,
from Alabama. Like that matters. That was probably his best college game. Now. I question the scheme fit a little bit more based on just what he's played in. I do think he's athletic enough to play pretty much anything, but not a ton of zone base in that Tennessee offense. So but I think if you move him the right tackle, he'll be all right. He's definitely not one of the most athletic guys.
How can you be at 350 pounds?
I know he's a big dude. So now the other thing is he's also somewhat of a one-year wonder. He was highly recruited coming out of high school and struggled. He played left tackle 2 years ago. He was much better at right tackle last season. Much better. So I think if you draft him, you are talking about a right tackle. He's a really good run blocker. So there's some of those concerns I have right there is why I have him 5th instead of 4th. But overall, we, as a consensus, put him number 4 on our big board.
Just a couple things that stood out to me. Number one, Louis Riddick loves this dude. I don't know how much you believe in Lewis's analysis. I do. He said Darnell Wright's going to be a Pro Bowl All-Pro his rookie season.
Wow.
Now, his rookie season, in consideration in my mind for best overall player in this draft when it is all said and done. And that is a big-ass comment from Louis Riddick. Should be in bold, great pro. So
there you go.
That's one dude who's incredibly, when we're trying to get creative here, trade down, and maybe, who knows if Ryan Poles is anywhere close to that level of thought, but that would be an interesting guy if that's the way they go.
Yeah, but if Ryan Poles came out and flat out said Orlando Brown wasn't a scheme fit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then it seems to me that his, measurables, his weight, his size doesn't fit
Fair.
what Ryan Poles is looking for in an offensive line. Correct?
Right, and that's the other stuff. He's not for every offensive scheme because of that.
Again, that went into somewhat. I like Wright to a point. There are linemen. I said this yesterday. We talked about our CHGO big board. There are linemen that we're going to leave completely off the board. And right now, as I look at Darnell Wright, I like him enough that I wasn't going to leave him off the board, but I'm not convinced he's a Bears guy. I'm not convinced he's a perfect fit for what the Bears want on their O-line, and that's where I had him a little bit farther down the list.
Where do you stand on this scheme talk? This has been a big talking point on Bears Twitter for the last week.
Yeah, it's a huge deal.
So you agree that teams should have a scheme fit, because the opposite of that argument is that you should always find good players no matter what your scheme is, because that was a Nagy issue, right?
Sure.
We would get upset that he wouldn't take, because he wanted everything to fit into his little system, and good coaches should find a way to find great players no matter what the scheme is. So where do you stand on that?
So I think it's a great question.
It really is.
Because I don't think it's black and white. And here's where I'm going to go. I think that specifically when it comes to your skill positions, you need to be able to be flexible. If there's a really good athlete that just is electric with the ball in his hands, you find a way to make him work in your system. You just have to. But when it comes to building on the line of scrimmage, especially with an offensive line, you have to have a type that you're looking for. You have to be committed to that type. You have to be committed to the scheme. Are you zone-based? Are you gap scheme? Are you power? What are you doing here? What is the basis of your run game? And then this is where it crosses back over to the skill position players and why it matters with the running backs. Again, I think if you have a special running back, you make it work. But in a zone-based run scheme, you are trying to get to an area and creating a cutback. And you have to have a running back that has good vision and good ability to do that. And so it's just not, it's a gray area, and you have to walk the fine line. But if you're going to be stubborn with it, too stubborn with it, then I think that's a problem. But when it comes to building a line of scrimmage in your offensive line, I do think you have to stick to a certain type, and maybe not cross guys completely off, be flexible, but I'm certainly not reaching for one in the top 10 that I don't think is a good fit for what I'm trying to build.
Just want to get this on record. It's not a gray area for me. It's crystal clear when it comes to the quarterback, which is interesting because people are pushing back on Louis Riddick and saying that, well, you love Matt Nagy. And that was Matt Nagy's problem. It's a lot of coaches' problem, at least in my mind. And I'm not saying that Mitch Trubisky would have been phenomenal, but your quarterback, if you're this is our scheme, this is how we do things, versus what do I have, and let's figure out how to make it work, a la the Ravens and the success that they've had with Lamar, That's where it's just enraging to me. You take your best player and you put him in a position to succeed. However, with an offensive lineman, that's different because he's trying to unlock the best players on the team. Totally different situation for me.
But then that puts you, I mean, this is kind of going big picture, but then if you're drafting an offensive lineman and building your offensive line to your scheme, and it's Luke Getsy's scheme, let's say A, either he moves on to greener pastures, or B, he gets let go because they're not successful enough. Now you've kind of pigeonholed yourself into, we got to find a coach that matches these players, correct?
True, but again, I think part of the problem specifically with the offensive line in this conversation is it's 5 players acting as one. So you can't just take somebody that's more power gap scheme based and plug them in with 4 other guys that get on the move and work with an outside zone scheme. It's much different when you're talking about one guy, one wide receiver. You can find and run a certain route, do this one certain thing that fits within the offense, or have them within a package, and you can kind of build that package for that player. With your offensive linemen, they're ideally on the field for every play of your entire game because you don't want them to get hurt. And those are the 5 you got to roll with, and they got to work together. So you can't just take one right tackle and that doesn't fit your system and put them with the other 4. Sure. It's just a different conversation.
Every single one of them has to have on the same exact Shady Rays to take on the sun. They have to the gear that's built to last. They all got to look good. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered for the warm weather ahead with the premium Shady Rays. So good to have you back. The premium polarized shades at an affordable price. Shady Rays, the independent sunglasses company. You're buying from just an outstanding group that's put together a world-class product that is just as good as any expensive pair we've worn. And don't buy the expensive pair. You want the Shady Rays because they're durable. They have the extremely clear optics. They're great for an outdoor adventure. They're good to be sitting at home on your couch watching the Bears. They're good for anything, but they have the insane protection in all of eyewear. This is the best part of it, as you know. If you don't know, listen up. Every pair of sunglasses is backed by their lost and broken replacements. If you lose it, you break it, you throw it out the window, you break it on Bragg's heads, all you got to do is call them up, and they will give you a brand new pair, no questions asked. You can wear those Shady Rays with confidence because they have your back long after you purchase it. So this is what you do. This is exclusively for our listeners here at CHGO Bears. Shady Rays, best deal of the season. Go to shadyrays.com. Use that code CHGO, 50% off 2 pairs of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself. The shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people. Get yourself going with your Shady Rays.
Yep, and the ComEd Energy Efficiency Program, I'm going to show this to you, buddy, here, because we get a new read to be operating with. It requires multiple friends.
Okay, let me update my situation here, and I'm ready for you, buddy.
But you've heard us talk about a lot with the ComEd Energy Efficiency Program, which is committed to helping families and businesses in the communities they serve, helping manage energy usage and lower energy bills now and into the future.
And ComEd does offer a wide variety of incentives, Adam Hoge, on lighting and other efficiency upgrades to commercial, industrial, and public sector customers of all sizes across the territory. ComEd also offers free facility assessments that can help find energy-saving opportunities, like for HVAC systems, commercial kitchen equipment, thank you very much, or Lawrence Industrial Processes.
How does it work there, Mr. At the Car?
Well, this is what happens here, Adam Hogan. An authorized engineer is going to work with you to develop a detailed assessment plan specific to your goals and needs. They'll even deal with guys like Greg Braggs. They'll deal with anyone. And this can be done in person if you'd like or virtually. It lasts about 2 hours. Within 3 to 4 weeks, customers are going to get a report detailing their energy efficiency projects that can start that ComEd will start working on immediately. Each recommendation will include estimated energy savings, cost savings, project costs, potential incentives, and a simple payback. If you own a business, by the way, don't wait.
Keep going.
You want me to keep going? All right, fine then. I'll keep going. Right.
That's what it says.
That's what it says, right. Thank you very much. It's the first time on the fly here. I didn't know how long I could go. This feels like Passover. Like, you want me to keep going at the Seder? This is why I'm going to keep going. All right, get started saving money and energy today. For energy saving tips, lighting incentives, or to schedule your free facility assessment, go to ComEd.com. CHGO.com/poweringbiz.
Did you say ComEd.com/poweringbiz?
Yes, I did. Schedule it today. Thank you, ComEd.
Get it done. All right. We are down to our last player, our top 5 offensive tackles, as I try to refine my board here. Now, you thought 342 was big. Can I sell you on 374?
This dude's a man.
Dawand Jones.
He's a man and a woman and a thing. Let's go, Dawand.
What?
He's huge.
Okay. So weird. 6'8", 374. I love this guy. The more and more I watch him, and you want to talk about scheme fit, is he too big? Dude, this guy can move at his size. He really can. I'm not pigeonholing him in any scheme. Just a massive player, probably a right tackle only, but his feet are incredible.
Big feet.
For his size. And now, there was a weird thing that happened at the Senior Bowl where he dominated the first day, and then he didn't do anything the rest of the week.
These things happen.
Which I was kind of wondering, like, all right, the one weakness to being that big, right, that massive is, all right, our guy's going to adjust and attack you differently. They obviously can't go through you. You're just too big. But now you start talking about spin moves. Would guys have adjusted on day 2, day 3 of those practices? And we never got to see it. So maybe a good business move by him, but it's still kind of a questionable thing where I'm like, wait a minute, why did you do that? But if the Bears want to put a wall up at right tackle for Justin Fields, I love the idea of Dawand Jones because he is just big, surprisingly mobile for as big as he is. And I think the reality is at Ohio State, they ran outside zone. So he's got the experience of doing this running scheme while also blocking for a mobile quarterback, by the way. So I think he'd be a fit despite how big he is. And I prefer him over Darnell Wright.
Surprisingly mobile for as big as he is. Sounds like somebody I know in a cul-de-sac.
I mean, you should reach out to Dawand's family and show him that as well. I mean,
now I want to see you do a Dawand Jones video. Longest wingspan in the history of the Senior Bowl, by the way.
Strengths.
So no questions about his arm length.
NFL.com. Strengths. Human mountain requiring long hikes to navigate. I mean, this guy's amazing. Plays with good movement. Massive wingspan. Overwhelms rushers when his hands are timed up. Displays ability to slide up. But I thought that was amazing. Human mountain. He's had a lot of penalties, Adam Hoge. A lot of penalties.
Okay.
Penalties bad.
Penalties
Less
are
penalties
bad.
good.
Penalties are bad.
And for as big as he is, he's unable to execute move blocks with any consistency. So there's that too, which stood out to me.
That would be tough in an outside zone scheme.
Yes. But if you like Paris Johnson, you can't just rule this dude out because he's huge.
Well, he is number 5 on our list.
Yes. But I think
we're talking second round here. If he's there at 53, I would take him. For the record, Anton Harrison came in at number 6, receiving 1 or 2 votes in the way we did this. He is the tackle from Oklahoma who's getting quite a bit of love, but I just think he's kind of a good enough athlete, probably only a tackle, and he needs to add some strength, get better as a run blocker, in my opinion. I don't think he's a day 1 starter, so I wouldn't draft him in the first round. Maybe in the second round he's in the conversation. I'm not sure he will be, though, but that was who came in number 6. We're going to continue to update this on our CHGO big board. We'll get deeper, too, and eventually have, beyond the top 10. Our goal by the time we get to the draft is to have a consensus top 100 for you. So on those 2 shows that we have for you Thursday and Friday night, we are going deep with all the options that we have as we break it down live. Carm just brought out a box.
So I have a lot of super chats to get to before we
What's
get to
in
the
the
goddamn
box?
You want to do the super chats and then the box?
What's in the box?
I think so.
Let's get to the super chats and then we'll do the
Got
box.
A lot of supers out there asking about all these wonderful things about tackles and et cetera, et cetera. Forte inch Ditka. We'll start there. $1.99. Why isn't Tevin Jenkins getting a shot at right tackle?
Because they don't like him there, Forte. They moved him inside. They like him inside. He ain't going back outside.
Asked and answered.
Poles has a type.
Yeah.
They don't think he can play there. Period. End of story.
We'll give Forte his second super chat right away here. $4.99 for this one. Thank you. He says that Corey Wooten talked about how important technique is on the line. Hope we don't get too caught up in measurables.
Great. I'm with you,
Laughing
Forte. And Corey's going to be at our draft show, by the way. So
Yep.
you have to hang out with Woot.
Measurables you can't change, though. Technique you can. So that's why teams tend to look towards measurables, because they always believe their coaching staff can coach them up. Now, sometimes that's to a fault, but that's part of the equation.
All right, this one's from Brandon for $5. Where does Skoronski compare?
I like how that was written like a Chicago ad. How does Skoronski?
Where does Skoronski compare to Quentin Nelson when he was a prospect? Carm, you're a good sport with all this Graham nonsense. Hashtag Team Carm.
Thank you, Brandon. You're my guy. Quentin Nelson was considered like the best player in the draft.
Yeah. I'll say this. I don't think Skoronski's that far behind Quentin Nelson. Quentin Nelson definitely had higher. People may remember that I loved Quentin Nelson. Like, his tape was ridiculous, but he was also guard only. Like, you had the tape of him playing guard. Skoronski was a tackle in college. Nelson played guard at Notre Dame. You knew that's what he was going to be, but his tape was unbelievable.
And you don't have him that far from Quentin Nelson?
I think he can have a Quentin Nelson-like career.
That's crazy.
As a guard.
I mean, that just surprises me. I defer to your opinion on this and respect your opinion heavily, but that just really surprises me because Quentin Nelson was just such a force. Like, when he was coming out in the draft, everyone talked about how he was like the safest pick and can't miss and all that stuff. So,
well, the difference is, I'm admitting it's obviously a projection. I mean, let me put it this way. We'll never know. Again, projection. But had Skoronski been a guard at Northwestern the last 3 years, I think his tape would look pretty damn similar.
Wow. That's an interesting.
Now, he doesn't quite, they are different. I don't want to
simplify it too much.
Nelson is probably a nastier,
that's what I'm
finisher,
wondering.
Where it pops off the tape a little bit more. Skoronski's more of just this finesse, but the consistency is just the way he passes off stunts. It's very impressive. It's just clean tape, where he's not quite the same nasty finisher that Quentin Nelson was that you get really excited about. Not quite the same player, but I just think in terms of the ceiling and how well, I just think he's going to be a great player. That's all.
Okay.
All right, Tom.
Yeah.
Pappalardo, $5. Paris Johnson Jr., left tackle with most potential to be a franchise left tackle. Bears need to take a shot at having a franchise QB and left tackle. This combo could lead to an elite offense.
Tom, good points there. The scary part about it, though, is if he's not and you use the number 9 overall pick on him, that sets you back big time. So you better be sure. You got to get it right. Not going to be, as Braggs mentioned earlier, hopefully not going to be up here that much longer.
Alex,
Although they do have 2 picks next year. Let's go.
Alex Leatherwood, was a big prospect coming out, and he's already on a different team.
Yeah.
That's the worst case scenario.
Zippo.
All right, Renetta Smith, $5. Very cool avatar there of the bear over the city. Broderick Jones or Paris Johnson Jr. for me as offensive tackle.
All right.
There you go.
Renetta's
Thanks,
my
Renetta.
girl. Renetta's awesome.
And then I'm not sure. Renetta also just threw another $2 to say my favorite player in this draft, Hoge. That was just now. I don't know who are we just talking about. Is that probably Broderick? I don't know.
Dawand Jones?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Oh, she says it's Jones.
Yeah, Dawand Jones.
There we go.
Or Broderick
Yes,
Jones.
Dawand, I think.
Dawand.
I don't know. Again, there's so many Joneses. I'm not really sure
Braxton
who
Jones.
that means.
Broderick Jones.
All
Dawand
the
Jones.
Joneses. Now, Renetta also said this. This was a $10 super chat. Renetta is awesome.
Love you, Renetta.
I really wish I could attend the draft party. I'm attending the Bears draft party at Soldier Field that Thursday, but this sounds like it's going to be a blast.
So,
But wait, Renetta,
wait,
there's more. We are
Renetta.
doing a draft party on Friday night as well. So if you're at Soldier Field on Thursday, no hard feelings. Make sure you pick up some Bears socks for me. And then on Friday, come to our draft party at Joe's on Weed Street. We're doing the second and third round.
What did
for
you
the
ask
people.
them to pick you up?
See, at the Bears Soldier Field thing, they have, where they sell excess equipment and different things.
Yeah.
And they have these socks. I've given some socks here.
Oh.
Like the socks that were never used that the players actually wear.
Yeah.
That's where I reload on them every year this year.
What do you do with them?
I give them as Christmas presents or I give them to friends. I brought some here to the studio. I'll probably be bringing some to the draft party and throwing them into the crowd.
But I'm asking you this question for a specific reason as we get off topic now. I believe it was Jake Flanagan gave me a pair of these socks like months ago.
Right.
I don't know what I'm supposed to do with them.
Well, they're great in the winter. They're great.
You wear them?
Yeah, they're great in the winter.
They're like the football socks that go up above your knee.
I'll wear them to shovel. Do you shovel? Or does Hollywood Hoge have somebody
on when you're
shovel
at home
them
and walk around?
I'm not walking around in Bear socks.
Why not?
What?
They
is
go
your problem,
up above
man?
your knee.
It's a fun Sunday.
They're football socks.
They're awesome socks. Now you're going to wear them on the show. You're going to wear them for a show.
Okay, I'll wear them tomorrow.
Get some
I'm not on the show
flexibility in
tomorrow.
your sock
Wear them
game.
for the Braxton Jones interview.
Great sock. I'll wear them. Let's go.
Are those yellow submarine
I don't
socks?
know what these are. These are outstanding.
They're great socks in the winter.
Those are
great
happy
socks to
socks.
shovel.
I wear happy socks. I'm a happy person.
Please stop showing your legs to everybody. Can we get through these super chats?
We will try to do that. Here's a boosted Venom with the $4.99er. Would you guys be opposed to drafting a center, keeping Cody at left guard, and moving Jenkins back to tackle? Also, Cram, LBJ is the GOAT. Oh, boy.
You know, that's so funny that everyone's celebrating. He had a game winner last night. The guy was 1 for 2 on layups. Blew one that sent it in overtime. Loser. What was the other part of that? Sorry.
Guys, we got to stop the Jenkins moving the tackle thing. I feel like we've covered this a lot. But, yes, if they draft a young center, I guess Cody Whitehair could move back to left guard. Or, I don't know. It's also a possibility.
All right, listen, anybody that super chats that LBJ is the GOAT, we should deny that super chat and send their money back. That's
We'll
how
pay
I
you
feel.
to not ever super chat
See,
again.
I disagree.
Yeah.
I think we should
Charge
deny
them
the
double.
super chat and keep the money.
I think we should charge him double. That's what I think.
Hey, you can have your incorrect opinion on who the GOAT is and clear that.
No,
means
you can't.
I'm actually with you, Ed. I'm with you. You cannot have that opinion. It's not allowed on this show.
All right.
All right, so Chubbs.
1 for 2 on layups.
Chubbs, $5 to say that everybody needs to stop talking about offensive lines. The only sensible pick is D-line. Otherwise, we're going to lose 10 games in a row again. And then he threw a second $2 super chat in to say that the worst D-line in history equals the worst losing
Chubbs
streak.
is a friend of mine. He has been beating this drum, and he will not stop until his voice is heard. He does not understand people talking about wide receiver or offensive line or anything else. D-line, D-line, D-line all day for Chubbs, and I respect it. It's a very likely outcome at 9. We're just going to have to wait and see.
I also love his dog.
I don't think anybody discussing any other position isn't saying we don't need
Chubbs
D-line.
isn't wrong though. They need help there badly.
100%. 100%.
Let's not.
But you want the pick to hit. You know,
right.
whoever it is.
Yeah.
Next 3 super chats, no response.
Oh, okay. Bears on Kawhi.
I'll respond to this one.
Okay, if comfy with Braxton at left tackle, Skoronski is the pick. If not, Paris Johnson Jr. and move Braxton. In love with a trade back and one of the right
I don't
tackle
think.
only guys.
Well, we'll talk to Braxton,
Shake
and
it up.
I don't know, but it seems to me they're very much open to moving him.
I don't think they're in a hurry to move him. I think they're
They're
willing to.
Yeah, that's fair. He'll be here Friday, by the way, 2:30 special show. Anything else?
Okay. So Savage Smiley threw a couple $2 super chats away and added, just wanted to say I love you guys. Cram has some outlandish takes, and I love me some Brags, but Hoge is definitely my favorite.
Hoge is everyone's favorite, and rightfully so.
not
He's the
everyone's favorite. I've
he's
got
the most
6
normal
people.
human being currently on this set.
Hardly. I wish I was normal.
Actually, Hoge's my
My
favorite.
wife disagrees.
If I could get rid of myself, I would.
All right, and speaking of favorites, Oscar Stiles threw us $8 to say if the Panthers somehow are in play for the number 1 overall pick next season, can we send Delity to the Panthers' last game of the season?
It's true.
I see what he did there.
Yeah.
He's a good luck charm, no doubt
Good
about
luck
it.
charm. All right, what's going on with the box?
So
What's in the box?
So
So here I'm gonna little pre-show.
Yeah.
Carm told me about this box. It occurred to me, as the normal person on this set, are you going to bring some scissors over?
Is it?
And then I
fecal
thought
matter?
it was going to be more fun if he just struggled to open it, which he's been doing for the last 2 minutes.
Yeah, that's why I started on it because
So I'm also a
we're
bad
busy
guy.
but hey, this first of all, this was addressed to yours truly, but it has no address on it. It has our street. So somehow it just found us, which is amazing. Does have our suite on it, and then it says attention, arguable goat, and that is an amazing thing. So
You're a brave person for opening a random box addressed to you.
this, and looky, buddy. What does that say?
What?
It says
The heck
for
is
Brags.
this?
Our guy Kurt.
What is this? It says 4 Brags right here.
Yep.
Look at this.
Hold on.
For Carm.
Yeah, zoom this in.
4 Carm, 4 Brags.
Don't worry. I have
No
two.
Hoge shirt.
I got two.
hat.
I got 2 for you, buddy.
Oh, yeah?
It says
It
4 Brags.
Arguable goat.
Oh my God.
And look at that. You
Oh,
got
a
to
CHGO
see
hat.
it. You got to CHGO.
Oh,
hat.
look at it. Got north side for my cubbies. Got this hat. Got to open it up for my big head. Bang.
So
Revenge tour.
my guy Kurt, who's active in the chat all the time, reached out with this, and we appreciate you so much. The first time we've gotten a gift on the show.
That's
And
very nice.
I mean,
The revenge tour is on, people.
the fact that, come on. The attention arguable goat, I don't know if I've ever had a better moment in my life. And we're going to the White Sox
I was
game
going to say,
today.
you better wear that to the game.
It's
That's
all
amazing.
over Guaranteed Rate Field, which, by the way, we got to go.
I was going to say, I'm not going. The game started already.
You are going.
It's a 12-minute drive.
You got a Oh, yeah? And how long is the drive home at 4 o'clock on the Kennedy?
Oh, just live your life. Re-listen to the pod. Study up on a Dawand Jones. You can make use of the time. Nothing like being in the car.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kurt.
That's
This
pretty
is
awesome.
really
Got him.
nice.
808's his merchandise company.
808s.
I got
Boosted
that right.
through another one says you're my favorite
Kurt
Brags.
Gullidge.
Thanks, Boosted.
I love it, Venom.
And
Just clean up the LeBron takes.
our guy Gary Ross.
Daniel's with NFL Network reporting Carter has a promise inside top 10. Thoughts?
That's what his agent said. Let's not read too much into it, although
Promise? Didn't Patrick Mahomes' dad come out and say the Bears promised they were picking him? Isn't that a thing that happened?
that did happen.
Yeah.
And then it didn't
promises.
happen.
It's hard to believe.
Promises.
Just be careful what you're reading and believing
Okay.
pre-draft, unless it's coming from me. I
Then definitely believe it.
have a flawless record.
Someone mentioned Crags. Is that a?
That's not a thing.
Is like
People
a
have tried to make
Brangelina
it a thing.
Bigs.
No, none of it's
between
a thing.
you two?
Bags.
Crags.
Cram is the only thing that's taken on. And I think he has now, gotten somebody to create a burner in my honor. I think Cram's up to something. We'll
All
talk
right.
about it off screen.
Make sure you go get those tickets to our draft party. We can't wait to see you there.
Yeah, somebody asked in the chat real quick. Robert Lee asked to CHGO, what is, if any, discount code to become a CHGO diehard? $80 in my current situation is doable, but any savings would surely help. Yes, if you become a diehard, you get a discount.
That's not what the question is.
That's not what the question is.
The
He wants a
question is,
discount
can
on
you get a
being
discount
diehard.
to become a diehard? The answer to that, unfortunately, is no. The price is the price, but by becoming a diehard, you get discounts
My
on
bad.
events,
Reading
merchandise.
comprehension.
It pays for itself by the end of the year, we promise. That's why we make it for those of you that are diehards and watch the show every single day, there's no reason not to be a diehard because you get those discounts throughout the year and it pays for itself. So,
Thanks for
and
cleaning that
beyond
up.
that. So thank you so much for being here.
Good effort.
We are out of here. Tomorrow it'll be Will and Nick, Chicago Audible version, a special Thursday edition of that edition of the show, because Friday Braxton Jones will be here in studio with us. It's a special 2:30 start on a Friday. Again, make sure you check out those tickets at allchgo.com. Can't wait to see you at the draft party. And make sure you're back here at noon tomorrow with Will and Nick. Talk to you then.